Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about what we could see as the side banner unit for the LR Beast Gohan that is releasing for part 2 of the anniversary. I did one of these for the part 1 as well, where we speculated as to who could be the side banner unit for Broly's banner. I can't remember if I did mention a Golden Frieza. I'm pretty sure I did, right? Because we kind of focused in on the theme being the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. I should have rewatched this video before just to see, but I'm pretty sure we did mention a Golden Frieza. So I'm going to put a big tick on that video. We're going to go ahead and jump in and talk about the potential side banner unit for Gohan, because of course he is the Dokkan Fest exclusive LR, so he will have a side banner unit just as Broly had Golden Frieza. But the Gammas are a carnival unit, so their banner will include multiple featured LRs, but will not have any other new units outside of the Gammas themselves. So the main thing, obviously, considering we got Golden Frieza from the Broly movie as the side banner unit for Broly, it seems pretty straightforward to assume that we are going to get something superhero related as the side banner unit for Beast Gohan. Now with Frieza, he is of course on Broly's team. He is a Super Boss's support unit, so hopefully they will follow the same kind of design. I mean, with Golden Frieza being such a good side banner unit, we would really hope that the one for this banner is on the same level. I mean, in a way, I hope they don't do that because it's not very original. But imagine if they literally just copy and pasted his kit, but instead of Super Bosses, they were supporting somebody else. And then that was just the side banner unit. So we don't obviously want a carbon copy, but at the same time, hopefully the side banner unit for Gohan's banner is as good, if not better, than Frieza, which is a stretch anyway, because Frieza is such a great unit. But we're going to go ahead and jump in and talk about some options. Obviously, this isn't every possible option it could be. It could end up being something that we don't even mention at all. So let me know your thoughts down below. Out of all the units we talk about here, all the characters we talk about, let me know who you think is the most likely. Who do you think we will see? And if there's someone you think it could be that I didn't mention, obviously do let me know down below in the comment section. So the first and seemingly most obvious one is Piccolo, right? We have the Piccolo thing up here. You know, we don't have all these other ones are Piccolo and somebody else. So when it comes to Piccolo by himself, aside from Piccolo Jr., of course, we just have Piccolo and then Power Awakening Piccolo. Now, considering that Beast Gohan has a unit super to do the double special beam cannon, with the way gacha law works, summonable units, if they require another unit to activate part of their kit, there has to be free-to-play versions of that unit available. They can't make it so you have to have summoned another specific summonable character in order for the character you just got with your summons to be actually at their full potential, right? So I'm almost certain that the condition for the unit super will just be any unit whose name includes Piccolo. So normal Piccolo and Power Awakening Piccolo will work. They might put in there that Piccolo Jr. or Demon King Piccolo doesn't count, but anything that includes Piccolo. So there are free-to-play Piccolos. There's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of older summonable ones. But the side banner unit could be a new Piccolo. So one of the ones that comes to mind straight away is a unit that Legends has already, which is the Piccolo in the Red Ribbon Army disguise. Now, as we've seen, in old Dokkan format, we would have expected that if this Piccolo dropped, he would just be called Piccolo. But we have just seen with the release of the LR free-to-play Beerus for the anniversary that he is called Beerus brackets pajamas, right? So they could quite easily have this side banner unit be called Piccolo brackets Red Ribbon Army disguise, right? So then he would have a different name. He would have basically the same link set as the other Piccolos, very similar link set to the Power Awakened Piccolo, aside from any of the ones he gets just for specifically being Power Awakened or transforming into Orange Piccolo. So he would be very good on those teams, and he would link very well with the LR Piccolo as well as some of the other Piccolo units as well. So imagine him as a superheroes support unit, and then he can be there to be your Piccolo for Beast Gohan's unit super attack. So honestly, if I had to pick out of all the possible options, I think this guy probably is my #1 choice. Obviously, we don't see him do much in the movie in the disguise in terms of attacks, but you know, give him like a sort of basic combo, maybe the Hellzone grenade or something like that. I probably wouldn't want him to have a special beam cannon, just because you kind of want that to be special, him to be there to provide the unit super for Beast Gohan, but he could definitely be a very good pick. And then, of course, the other thing which would be interesting, whilst I think he, of course, deserves his own standalone unit, is the actual Orange Piccolo himself, right? Because the only Orange Piccolo that we have in the game that is quote-unquote playable is the giant form of the LR Piccolo. So we don't have a standalone Orange Piccolo unit in the game. So it'd be interesting for him to be the side banner unit, especially because that works perfectly with being Orange Piccolo in the animation to be the unit super for Gohan. But there is that part of me that thinks if we're going to get a playable standalone Orange Piccolo, it should be a summonable unit. But then I suppose it's going to be a while till they revisit Superhero. Would they do a random standalone Dokkan Fest Orange Piccolo? I mean, it definitely would be worthy of it, but I could absolutely see him being the side banner unit for Beast Gohan. I think I would probably prefer the Red Ribbon Army one, just for spicing it up a little bit. But yeah, standalone Orange Piccolo definitely is a possibility for the side banner unit for Gohan. So the other one that I thought of is Pan being a new unit that was introduced with the old Superhero Celebration. New character, not a new character as such, but obviously the new young version of Pan from Superhero. The only reason why I think this is a lot less likely is because she doesn't have a new form or a different name or anything like that. So if they brought out a new side banner unit Pan, they would just be straight up like replacing this one. And while she is like, she's a unit you can kind of get away with still running, very much dodge or die in the hardest content, but I don't think they would bring out a new unit and just completely overwrite her existence in the game this early. So whilst Pan certainly could be an option, I think she's probably one of the lower likelihood picks. Now, the other one I think we could see that I've seen people mention as well is the fat Gotenks from the end of the movie. Now, I wonder, would they call him Gotenks Failure A? Because that's what they call Fat Gotenks in Dokkan. Obviously, we have Failure B as the skinny one. We don't have any other version of that Gotenks in the game. Now, obviously, we do have the banner unit from the Piccolo banner of the Trunks and Gotenks. It was Piccolo's banner, right? Pan surely was on Gohan's banner. I forget which way around it was. But these guys obviously fuse into Fat Gotenks in their super attack animation, but the base card is just the Team Goten and Trunks, right? So I think Fat Gotenks is definitely a possibility. They could give him a different name, but I mean, even if they don't, like, you're not running this guy anymore, right? So even if he has the same name, it's not really going to matter too much. So yeah, it'd be interesting if they did give him a different name, but the Fat Gotenks definitely is a possibility. Could you imagine? I don't know if they'll start giving those abilities to side banner units, but he could have like a taunt, which is a very Gotenks thing to have. Obviously, he could have an intro animation of them messing up the fusion, because obviously they do it in the super attack effect, but as an intro, it could be much, much higher quality. So I think that could be an option for sure. Not the highest on my list, but definitely one that we could possibly see. The other thing that I've seen a lot of people mention, which, again, I think is probably lower down the list of the possibility, but Krillin and 18. So this one from the Tournament of Power that was released in 2021 as part of the anniversary, for 6th anniversary, is the only Krillin and 18 card that we have in the game. Now, obviously, at the end of the movie, Krillin doesn't really do a huge amount. Krillin and 18 don't really fight together against Cell Max, but they're characters who were there. The big thing you have to remember, kind of like I said with Pan, is I feel like they're not going to be bringing out newer versions of the very few superhero characters we already have, right? So it won't be like an Ultimate Gohan or a Power Awakened Piccolo. I don't think it'll be a Pan or another Team Goten and Trunks. So we've got to look at the other characters that are left from that roster of characters in the movie that they could add in to be the side banner unit. So Krillin and 18, definitely a possibility. But again, I think much lower on the list. A little bit higher possibility than like a new Pan or a new Goten and Trunks, as I've said. But I definitely think very low on the list of possibilities. Something like a Fat Gotenks, I think, is even more likely than these guys. But Piccolo, I think, is still going to be probably my top pick. Now, this last one is controversial because I mentioned this on Twitter and I immediately saw a bunch of people saying that, whilst, you know, it would make sense for him to be on the banner and for him to get a unit in this celebration, because we all thought he was going to be the Part 2 Carnival LR, Cell Max as the side banner unit. Now, a lot of people don't like this idea. They think it's disrespectful that he should just get a proper full, like, summonable character, whether he's a Dokkan Fest or a Dokkan Fest LR. We talked about on the podcast how, you know, we basically all thought that Part 2 Carnival LR was going to be Cell Max. It makes a lot more sense for him to be an LR in this kind of celebration, because I feel like the Gammas are more worthy of being a standalone release that would be more hype for like a solo release, whereas I can't see them just randomly dropping, imagine as like a filler celebration, a Dokkan Fest Cell Max. Like, I don't really see that happening. So with him not getting a unit in this celebration, if he's not going to be the Part 2 Carnival LR, I could see him being the side banner unit. Because, you know, with getting the second, you know, the Carnival LR for Part 2 being in a super class unit, so a repeat of the worldwide celebration where the Part 2 characters are double super and Extreme only got one buff out of the 4 units, dropping a Cell Max as the banner unit, who's really, really good, would be very interesting, but it would be very strange because it would be a buff to super bosses. He would have big bad bosses, we assume, but then it'd be strange for them to give Broly Golden Frieza, who's a direct buff for his team, but then do Cell Max for Gohan's banner. So I do think it is a possibility. I would have preferred him to be the Part 2 Carnival, but he isn't. Like I said, I don't see him getting like a standalone LR at some point. I mean, I don't think we'll be seeing more superhero content for a while. So if he's not the banner unit, it just probably means we're not getting a playable Cell Max unit for quite a long time. Which I know some people are happy. I know a lot of people don't want a Cell Max unit because they don't care for big rage monsters like him and Harudegan. But I think it would be cool for him to be the side banner unit. Definitely, again, I think lower on the list. In terms of probability, I think Piccolo is like #1, whereas Cell Max is hovering at around maybe like 3 or 4. Now, there are a couple of characters that we don't have the arts for. I guess I could have brought up the Legends art for. There's that like Magenta that I think doesn't he die and then bring out Cell Max or something like that? So that could be an interesting option. Imagine a Magenta who's just like one of those Hercule type characters where he has a jetpack and his super attack is like him shooting a gun. I guess he does have the weird like metal armor thing that he puts on later on. But and then he does have like a revival into Cell Max would be kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be interesting to see. And then, of course, there is the opportunity for a Dr. Hedo unit as well. There are some story assets for him in the game. But Minato was joking about, like, on the podcast, give him the Devilman effect, where he has the little robot bee that poisons people. So you have, like, a 1% chance that he does, like, 999 million damage or whatever it is, which would be pretty funny. But he could be there. He could be a superheroes, because the Gammas count as superheroes, right? So Dr. Hedo could be a superheroes support unit, because he would be supporting Gohan and the Gammas and the rest of the superheroes team. So Dr. Hedo as a unit could be kind of funny, whether he's in the lab coat or in his own like superhero costume. That could certainly be an interesting option. People have joked about Carmine as well, but in terms of the Red Ribbon Army goons, I don't think we would see anything unless it was Magenta that then revives or like exchanges or whatever into Cell Max. I feel like that could be an interesting way for them to do a Cell Max unit. But again, with the way they did the Part 1 banners, I'm not sure we'll see an extreme side banner unit for Gohan's banner. But at the end of the day, we can never really be sure. So let me know what you guys think down below. So out of all of those options, I think Piccolo is probably the most likely. With the Gammas being the Part 2 LR, I definitely could see a Dr. Hedo unit that is like a superheroes support. And then after that, I guess in terms of the characters we've talked about, the most likely next one probably would be, I would say, Fat Gotenks, then 18 and Krillin, unless they do want to throw that weird extreme element into the mix and then give us either a Cell Max or Magenta into Cell Max or something like that, right? So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I say, if I'm going for #1 pick, if I had to decide myself right now, I get to choose who it is. I would go with the Red Ribbon Army costume Piccolo, just because I think it would be cool to have him in Dokkan. And then in the future, we could get a dual Dokkan Fest that's a standalone Orange Piccolo and then a standalone Cell Max kind of like the Dragon Fist Goku and Hirudegarn, they were a dual Dokkan Fest. That would be something I think would be very cool. But if it was up to me, I'm going with Red Ribbon Army Disguise Piccolo. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.